Welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews. Oh my God, look at them all. Look at all those pretty, handsome, beautiful faces. How you doing, guys? All right?
Yeah, good to see everyone.
Very good, thank you.
Good. So, a bit of a different topic today. I think Mark thought of this one, or it might have been floated about a little while ago. It's best vocal performances. So, in rock and metal.
Or our favorite.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Subjective.
All subjective. Sorry, our favorite vocal performances. So no particular rules to this. It could be a live performance. I think I told you it could be anything. You know, what's your
love performance you put actually on the thing, did you?
What?
You put love performance when you texted us.
Well, yeah, it could be a love performance. I mean, we have got Jam and Karen together, so we don't really want to talk about that.
I didn't know it was that kind of show.
Yeah, exactly. So favorite vocal performances. So we've gone for like, we know there's a lot of people here, so we've gone for like 5. Hopefully go around the houses. Mine's in no particular order, but you can, as we go around, you can explain how you got to if you want. If you don't want to say that, you don't have to. So what I see on my screen here is Todd being first. How you doing, mate? Right?
Hey, very good. Thank you for having me again.
Of course.
Excited to be here.
Always
Pleasure.
So again, you got every song ever made, and then you got to boil it down to 5. So how do you do that? So I kind of looked at it like, okay, what kinds of qualities in a vocal performance do I appreciate the most? So I never studied music theory, and I never really took any formal vocal training or anything like that. So I could have all these all wrong, and that's fine. But so I kind of picked 5 factors that I kind of appreciate most in a vocal performance. And I picked one song to illustrate each factor, and then I just kind of ranked the songs. But all of these will exhibit multiple factors. So I mean, even though I say this is one thing, it really it makes one thing that makes it a good vocal performance that it has multiple of these. So I kind of started with my number 5 is vocal tone. So what's the quality of that person's voice? And unfortunately for most of us, it's kind of, you're either born with it or you don't have it. So I really respect the fact that, you know, somebody has it. I really appreciate that. So I started out with from 1991, I went with Taiketo. Danny Vaughan's got one of the best vocal tones I've ever heard. Amazing vocalist. And I actually picked the song. Wings is my favorite song on here, the single, and that was another good example, but I went with Standing Alone because that's the ballad. And you can really, when you listen to that song, you really get blown away by Danny's vocals. And it's track number 5, so it closes out side 1 if you've got the vinyl. What can I say about it? I mean, if you listen to it, it's got a little bit of harmonies in the chorus, which I also appreciate. We'll get to that later. And there's somebody will be singing backup will be singing some parts, and then Danny will sing another part at the same time, and I kind of appreciate that too. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, Danny Vaughan, Standing Alone, my number 5.
Thanks, Todd. They were sort of more of the bigger bands that got lost in that era, weren't they? You know, the grunge era, if you like. But
right,
very cool. I'll go and see them as well in a festival in the summer. So
I'm going to see them in May as well in the Netherlands.
There you go. So cool, very cool. Thank you very much, Todd, for your first pick, mate. Down to Dom. How you doing, Dom?
Oh shit! Oh hey. I'm good. I didn't think I was going to be second here. That's all right. Yeah, I didn't put as much thought into it as Tom did. I basically just went with my gut instincts. You know, I didn't search through all my whatever. I just came up with ones that really hit me when I'm thinking of, wow, that was just great. I mentioned before we came on, it's not really something that I pay attention to be honest. You can always go, oh, wow, that's a great line, it's a great lick or whatever. But yeah, I don't really listen to music that way. Oh, that's a great singer, that's a great solo or whatever, even though I love music, obviously. My number one is, well, I don't have them in any order. So my first one, this is a song that, especially for the Americans, is something that we just take for granted because it's just always been there. But if you think about just how young they were and everything, I picked Aerosmith Dream On. Just because the first single from the first album, he was 25 when he sang this. And he had it all figured out already. Like he had that voice like there. I mean, I know 25 isn't 17, but he's made that last for how many years now? 50 years or something. It's incredible because we always talk about the very end bit where he goes to the dream, that really. But I mean, that's just classic stuff that he right out of the box. It just becomes this template for so many power ballads, and so it's just something that we all take for granted because it's been around for so long. But it really is amazing that it was like just right out of the box, first one, and he just had it all figured out, what he can do and the screams and stuff. So yeah, Dream On, Aerosmith, 1973.
Thanks, mate. I was thinking actually this is a perfect show for you actually, because you can actually sing like you normally do, and you can give us good examples. So.
Well, you might get a little touch here and there, but
exactly. You just can't help yourself in the end, can you? So it's cool. That's cool. Thanks,
and
mate.
he wrote the song too. That's even more impressive. I mean, yeah, it's great that he can sing it, but then he actually came up with the thing on his own too. So
yeah, I was reading it. He like wrote it when he was 17 or something, just something incredible like that, and that just became such a, as I said, a bar for those kind of rock power ballads from that moment forward.
Very cool. Wasn't expecting that, to say true, but a really good pick there, mate. Thank you very much. Sure. Okay, we're on to, if I'm literally going right to left, I'm going Jam next.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah, I'm same as Dom. I don't really know much about singing. Well, Dom probably knows more than me. I don't know about
don't know much about.
But yeah, so it was a bit difficult for me. I just listened to the song and yeah, there's good songs. And I thought when I was doing, I didn't pick ballads, but I thought they probably mostly would be ballads, which they turned out they are. But I've actually got a couple from 1991 as well, so it's obviously a very good year, like Todd. I'll go for my first one. It is Skid Row, Sebastian Bach, of course, and it's from Slave to the Grind. The obvious one would be I Remember You, of course, which I do love, and it is a brilliant performance. But I've gone for Wasted Time, the last track on the album. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I got it on CD single when it was released. Of course, got the album as well. But yeah, I just think it hits the right notes. It's got the right tones of power ballad as well. It's a bit heavier than probably I Remember You, and it's just Sebastian Bach. He has got a great voice, and it's still pretty good now. I've listened to the new stuff. I mean, whether he has any help these days, I don't know in the studio. But certainly back then, his voice was great, and live as well. So there you go, Skid Row, Wasted Time.
Thank you very much. Great choice,
I was expecting
mate.
you to say Quicksand Jesus. That's what I thought you were going to go for.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought about Skid Row. I'll get onto mine anyway, but Skid Row definitely came into my mind for sure. Excellent choice, mate. Thank you very much. Karen, how you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. Lovely to see everybody.
Lovely to see you.
First time this year. So in picking my tracks, I've kind of decided to go, I could have gone on about this all day, and I love all the greats, but I've decided to stick with the 5 vocalists that I really love listening to at the moment. So that's how I've approached this, and I've picked one track by each of them. So my first one is a very technical singer. It's Daniel Tompkins of Tesseract. I seem to talk about Tesseract whenever I come on here. He is a credible vocalist. He's a real kind of almost like a vocal athlete, I think, really. He's got incredible range. He's got power, versatility. He's a respected vocal coach as well. And the track I'm going to pick is the live version of Concealing Fate from the Portals live concert film that they did in 2020. It's an incredible performance. It's all live. He's literally going, and he's switching between clean and harsh vocals all the way through what sounds like seamlessly. And it is. I mean, he makes it sound easy, but I mean, it must be incredibly technically difficult. And you know, you can watch him. He actually streams a lot of his like vocal rehearsals live on his Twitch channel, and you can see hours of work that go into you know, preparing for this. And the harsh vocals on this track, they are absolutely ferocious. Absolutely incredible singer. We went to see Tesseract a few weeks ago in London at Kentish Town Forum, and they were mind-blowingly good. I mean, it was one of those gigs where you walk out, and I'd literally lost the power of speech. I couldn't actually even talk. They were that good. If you like them and you've never seen them, definitely catch them when you can. Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah, Daniel Tompkins.
I've got to say, you know, I'm not a harsh vocalist fan, but I do appreciate. I don't know how someone can sing for years like that, to say the truth. And I've got a grass Jam up when Jam had a smile on his face when you said you lost your voice for a couple of days.
I mean, for me not to be able to be struck dumb is rare.
I wasn't going to say it. I'm glad you did, Lee.
Cool. I spotted him. I spotted that little smile on his face. Don't worry about that. Okay, thanks. Cheers, Cameron, for that.
He's come back today, I'll see.
Yeah. Okay, Ralph, what you got for me, mate?
Yeah, I had a very long list to start off from, and I started to rate them a little bit on basis of 5 different principles. One is range of the singer.
Wow.
Second one is tone. So there are just simply voices that you just prefer more than others. The feeling that they put into their singing, and then also looking at the career of some of those singers, persistence and history of how long are they busy with singing and what quality are they still able to deliver. But my number one, my first one that I chose is actually an Irish hard rock band called The Answer. And the singer of that is Cormac Neeson. And I just love the tone of his voice and the range and the feeling that he brings in. It is this mix of Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin. It has a bit of Lenny Wolf from Kingdom Come sometimes, and even sounds a bit like Black Crow singer every now and then. And so it's very, very difficult for me to just choose one song. But if I mention a couple, just from their recent album, which is called Sundowners, there are 2 songs that really speak to me, California Rust and Cold Heart. And from a very early production of them from 2005, I don't think it was their debut, but very close, an album called Rise, and the songs Come Follow Me and Into the Gutter. Those also speak to me extremely. So yeah, my first choice is Cormac Neeson from The Answer.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. Cool. Getting a clap from Todd there. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Mark Clower. How you doing?
I'm good. I know everybody's expecting me to pick a Tony Martin song. I decided not to sound like a parrot on this show. I intentionally did not pick a Tony Martin song. I did not pick a Doogie White song. So I'm going to branch out a little bit. I could easily pick 5 songs from those 2, but I decided to go a different route. But it's appreciated. I think I think the more names we can spread on these videos, the better. This is another huge name by my all-time favorite band. I couldn't totally reject the band, but I'm going Black Sabbath from Seventh Star. This just happens to be my favorite song of all time. Not just Sabbath, my favorite song of all time in the history of the world. Wow. And it's credited as 2 songs, but I consider it to be one song. Angry Heart / In Memory. Why they call them 2 different songs, I don't really know, but you can't really have one without the other. Glenn fucking Hughes, by the way, is just one of the best singers on the planet. He has maintained his voice probably better than anybody out there. And the amazing thing, this was a time when he was in terrible shape health-wise. He was struggling with alcohol addiction, drug addiction, insecurities. He really didn't want to be in Black Sabbath, but he sang his heart out on this album. And in one of my books, Jeff Nichols, the late great Jeff Nichols, told the story about how Glenn sang most of this album sitting in a chair. That amazing full power voice. He wasn't even standing up when he delivered the performance on a lot of these songs. He was just sitting in a chair singing the song. And this song just gives me chills from day one, still does. The heaviness of Angry Heart that transcends into the mellow In Memory is just a perfect transition, seamless. It's just, like I said, it's my favorite song of all time, so I had to put it in here. The vocals are what really, the riff is amazing. It's an infectious riff, but Glenn's vocal delivery is just spine tingling, and just I had to put it at the top of my, even though I didn't rank these per se, being my all-time favorite song, I had to come out of the gates with this one.
Very cool, and a really underrated album as well. And I think
virtually the song is virtually unknown. I mean,
just one of my favorite Black Sabbath albums. Amazing album. We've got a lot of love for that, me and you, Mark, for that album. So it's
we did all the show on that one.
Yeah, it's a brilliant album. Thanks for that, mate. So it's a bit weird with vocalists for me. There's loads of great new vocalists around now, but I remember I don't feel now the same as I did when I heard a great vocalist when I was younger. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
when I was growing up and I heard some of these vocalists, which 4 out of 5 are old songs that blew me away when I was younger. There's only one which is more recent, which is still old now, but it's I remember just hearing certain vocalists and thinking, is that real? Did he really sing that? I can't believe you sang that sort of thing. And so that's what I went for, more of those sort of songs. But the first, and also I don't get to talk about old music much, do I? So I like to talk about, when I get together with you guys, I like to talk about older songs. So my first one is the newest one, which is relatively new, from one of my favourite newer bands, Alter Bridge, but it's one particular performance live which I was at. So that was at the Royal Albert Hall when they played with a full orchestra, and they played Words Darker Than Their Wings, and which is one of the songs they never played live before either, apart from the night before, and it got standing ovation. It was purely because of the vocal performance, I think, because of Miles Kennedy. So I think Miles Kennedy's getting older now, and he's 50. I think he's about the same age as me, so he's like 54 years old. So he's not, and his voice. And I think people, even including myself, have said that as you get older, you can't sing as well as you can when younger. It's just simple. But I think he almost proved in this song. He done this note at the end where he sings Truth Alone, and he literally lifted the roof off the Royal Albert Hall. It was absolutely amazing, and I've never seen a standing ovation like that before. And it lasted until they had to tell everyone to sit down and play some more songs. And Heads on the Back of the Neck, I watched it the other day as well because I got it on Blu-ray. It was amazing to be there. What an amazing vocalist. Well, one of the best new vocalists out there, of course. So Words Darker Than Wings live at the Royal Albert Hall. There you go. Okay, that's my first one. Back round to Tom.
All right. Good picks, everyone. So my second factor I call phrasing, and I think Ralph, you said something like, was one of your qualities too, is just how you perform the song. It's not just that you have great tone, but you actually kind of command the song, and you don't sing inside the lines. You've got, you know, the meter of the song, but you can kind of bridge that. And there's a lot of singers that are really good at that. And I think Steven Tyler is one that you really you think of as one of those guys who can do that, or one of those singers that can do that. And the funny thing is I didn't pick Steven Tyler, but I picked a Steven Tyler song, and I thought there was no way in hell anybody's going to pick any of the songs that I picked. And then Dom, my pick is actually from the tribute album.
Right.
It's Ronnie James Dio doing Dream On.
Dream On.
So
Sorry,
from
man.
1999, so this is one of those flurry of tribute albums that came out in the 90s and early 2000s, and most of these got throwaway songs on them. You know, they're kind of cool to hear somebody else sing some of your favorites and stuff. But Ronnie really transcends the whole idea of a tribute album, and he makes this song his. And if anybody else could sing Dream On and make it their song, and nobody could do that except for Ronnie. Ronnie is really the only one that could come in and sing Dream On and think, God, that was written for him, you know. And it's just amazing how he you know, he just, like I said, he commands the song, it becomes his, and his voice is so pure and so great that I don't know what else. You guys, if you haven't heard it, I assume you all have. I would definitely recommend trying to find this thing. I don't know if you can get this on Spotify or anything, but yeah, it's cool stuff. So it's a great song. I could have picked the Steven Tyler one, but I'm glad I didn't since I had it already. But yeah, I'll stick with this one still for with Ronnie doing Dream On.
That's one of my favorite covers of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie just slays it, and that's the one that's got Malmsteen on guitar, right?
Yeah. And of course Malmsteen's amazing, but I think it almost, you know, kind of he tries to overshadow Ronnie a little bit.
No,
which he always did.
So, but so when you listen to it, you're like, yeah, I just want to hear Ronnie come in. Yeah.
He's picked the wrong fight there, though, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
That's
Thanks,
great.
mate. That's a really cool pick, because you both chose the same song, but that's brilliant. Excellent.
I mean, I knew there would be some Dio sprinkled in these choices, but I was not expecting that.
Well, that's what I thought too. I thought I'd go with a an outside choice, so hopefully it wouldn't, you know, and then it was went the other way, but that's fine.
Very cool, very cool.
I've been wondering how many mentions Ronnie will get today.
Yeah, right. Hopefully a lot.
Yeah, agreed. Well, the albums that back there, the t-shirts on. So,
T-shirt,
yeah, you got it, yeah. Okay, Dom, what you got, mate?
Okay, I've got another band that has kind of the same career trajectory as Aerosmith does or did. Whereas the Americans, we all know them from their big 70s careers. And then in the 80s, they started making more pop music and kind of became a different animal. I'm still rock and roll, but not really. This is Heart, who I've mentioned on the channel before, who a lot of people in the UK only know the big shoulder pad years and Alone and all that kind of stuff. Whereas we had about 10 records of kind of very riffy rock and roll, straight ahead, no outside riders, nothing like that. So this song has always stuck out for me. It's from their fourth album, which is Dog and Butterfly. So it's 1978, and this song is called Mistral Wind. This is very Zeppelin-y. It's got that slow, epic thing. I mean, if I was ever going to convince Lee about 70s Heart, this is the song I'd be playing for him, because it's got that kind of epic building thing that you love, and I hate to say it's a ballad because it rocks too much maybe for a ballad, but It's definitely very, very Zeppelin-y. But her vocals, Jesus Christ, she does it about halfway through. She does these riffs that just get higher and higher, and just fantastic stuff. I mean, we all know she's a balls out great rock and roll singer, but you know, a lot of the material didn't really call for that in the 80s and 90s. But these, you know, when they were still kind of just a 5-piece, no outside producers and things, they were a great rock and roll band, and this is a very good example. So if you haven't heard this, Mistral Wind from Heart, this is really probably my favorite Ann Wilson performance.
Great singer. Absolutely.
Is that allowed? Can you have a girl singer on here?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, let me tell you, but I thought it'd be an opportunity for me to actually put one in here that really blows my mind. So.
I think the whole album is just fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. You can't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
Jam, is it allowed a girl singer or not?
Of course.
Oh, good. It's got a clear exam. Thank you very much, Dom. Jam, what you got, mate?
Okay, right. I'm going to stick with 1991 again, actually, just coincidentally. But this is from something that Dom won't like, but sort of along the lines of Mark's. It's one of my probably favourite song ever, possibly. I don't play
Black.
it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. It's cool.
Yeah. No, that's Eddie Vedder, obviously, from the debut album. Black is it a ballad? It's a slower song, put it that way. I don't call it a ballad necessarily, but the emotion he gets through this song, and especially live, and it's just a great thing to see. I mean, even went to see a Pearl Jam tribute band the other week, and even just obviously not the real Eddie Vedder doing it, it's still got the same emotion. It's obviously not as good, but it portrays in the song. The song's a great song, Black is. Say, I don't try and listen to it at all if I can help it, if you know what I mean. So when it comes on the radio or whatever, I appreciate it. But Black is brilliant. But yeah, the whole of 10 is great. I mean, I don't think Eddie Vedder's vocals are as good as they used to be, but certainly in the first 2-3 albums they were great. And the style of music's different now, but on this it's a lot of angst, I guess we're going to say, and some is a thing that came along later in the Gothic thing, what they call the emo stuff. They have all the angst, don't they? But I mean, this was started in the grunge era, probably, these type of singers. So yeah, Pearl Jam, Black, Eddie Vedder, brilliant performance.
There's no doubt about it. He put everything into that whole album, really, didn't he? And that song especially, that's without a doubt. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Karen.
Okay, so as we've said already, great vocals aren't always about lots of vocal acrobatics and loads of high notes, are they? Sometimes it's just the tone of somebody's voice that's just the main feature, really. So I'm going with Jonas Ranks, of course, from Catatonia as my second choice. This man he's one of my favorite singers, one of the most beautiful voices. His tone is so rich, and he almost has a kind of soothing quality about him. When I've had a hard day at work, that he's who I want to listen to on my drive home. I've picked one of the bonus tracks from the Fall of Hearts album from 2016, and it's called Vokeren. Apologies to Swedish brothers and sisters watching if I've pronounced that wrongly, but it's a Swedish language song, and he just sounds incredible on it all the way through. His voice is just beautiful, and Jonas, he could sing a phone book and make it sound epic. It really could. He could sing anything. I think the only thing better than Jonas singing in English is Jonas singing in Swedish.
I was going to say, do you think it makes it better because he can sing in his native language?
I don't know.
It must do.
I don't know, but it's a slow track, very atmospheric, and he just sounds incredible on it. I love his voice.
He has got a great voice. I mean, I've listened to the last album. I think you might have turned me on to that, one of you guys or something. But yeah, he's got a great voice, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Is Opeth better in Swedish, in Vina Kaldi?
I don't. I've heard it in both languages, and I love it in both. I don't think it's really obviously better. I mean, I'm sure some people would argue it's better in Swedish, but yeah, that Vokeren by Catatonia is a great track.
Thanks, Karen. Much appreciated. Ralphie boy, what you got?
As I knew that at least 3 or 4 of you would choose for Ronnie James Dio, I just left him out of the perspective. Like 5 other
So did
good
I. So did I.
Yeah, and the next one is an obvious one, just simply because I lived with that music for all of my life. It has carried me through little dilemmas and crises, and it is Judas Priest and Rob Halford. Just that's what I meant by persistence and history. This is just an amazing career with all its highs and lows and whatever there was, band split and sicknesses and coming back and all of that plays a huge role. And now listen to him singing on Invincible Shield. It is mind-blowingly good from my perspective, not just the song material, but also how he sings. And of course, production makes a lot of difference. And a lot of times that he's singing both the high and the lower notes, and they plug it together so that it has this broader scale that you listen to in the songs. But the way, when I first heard The Serpent and the King from the new album, I was just blown to the wall. I could not imagine that Rob Halford can sing like that, and he just turned 73. And he has my highest respects for his vocal performance. My career with not career, but my history with Judas Priest really started with Screaming for Vengeance, and then I walked forward and then backwards, and of course then you come to the Green Manalishi and Beyond the Realm of Death and all the earlier performances, which were just as amazing. But really singing like that for more than 50 years and still doing it, and recognizing that he has to be careful on stage, that he's not overdoing it, just has my highest respect. And from that perspective, I think he belongs into my top 5.
I've got to say, I appreciate him more now than ever. That last performance on the last 2 albums, he's put an amazing performance in, especially the last one. He sounds brilliant, I've got to say. And I'm not the massive Halford fan, but I know that's sacrilege in the metal world. But I've got to say, I really love that last album and his performance throughout. It's just pretty amazing, really. So yeah, good one, Ralph. Thank you very much. Mr. Mark Clower?
All right, I'm going to go with a bit of Kiss. Now, Paul Stanley has always been known as one of the greatest frontmen of all time, but he's never really got his credit for his vocals. And most people would probably consider the 70s to be his high point, when they were young and strong and, full of vim and vinegar. But I'm picking actually a live song from 1996, or it was actually recorded in 95 from the MTV Unplugged. I Still Love You. The live version on this Unplugged blows the studio version away, for me anyway. The studio version, of course, was on Creatures of the Night. But Paul, to steal one of Karen's words, he proved what a vocal athlete he was on this song. I mean, he hit some highs on this song that I didn't know Paul Stanley was capable of, especially when he was in his 40s. I'm not going to try to duplicate it, but he does a yodel type.
Go on.
I tried, believe me, I couldn't do it. I'm not doing that in front of a bunch of people, but he goes into like a yodel where his voice just goes up and down. And unlike the classic Alive albums that we later found out were doctored in the studio and had overdubs and all that, this, as far as I can tell, is, as it was performed, I don't think there's any way they could have really doctored this, because it was basically live, a performance. And at the end of the song, he hits a note that he holds for a time that it was 11 seconds. Just mind blowing. It's kind of hard to imagine now. You know, over the last couple of years, unfortunately, Paul received a lot of grief for his lack of vocal ability. But when you hear stuff like this, you kind of understand how he lost his voice. You know, doing the stuff that he did live, you know, hundreds of times every year from the early 70s up till just recently. You know, your voice eventually had got to give out, and unfortunately it eventually did. But yeah, and on this he was just at the top of his game, and probably my all-time favorite performance of his.
Very cool. Thanks, mate. Much appreciated. I haven't actually heard that performance. Sounds great though. I love Paul Stanley's voice, by the way. I really like his
Watch
voice.
the video. I mean, the whole video's on, you know, YouTube where you can watch it.
Yeah.
If you hadn't seen it, you'd be impressed.
Very cool. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Next song I'm going to is a recent live performance on the stadium tour. Vince Neil. Oh, Dom, I just thought of that one. Yeah, but yeah, sorry about that.
You're just checking to see for listening.
Somebody would have picked Vince Neil, to be honest, like 8 feet home or something.
No, I'm going to. You know what I said about the beginning about vocals when you just can't believe it was real. And this was one of those vocalists way back in the 80s when I was growing up, late 80s. This one. And I know that everyone was going for this high-pitched voice, but I don't think anyone could do it as well as this guy in the 80s, and that was Tony Harnell. So from TNT, and I thought I've got to have a Tony, TNT song. Just, that 80s period was just brilliant, and they brought out some brilliant albums after as well. But the song, and mainly for the range that he reaches just before the solo, was Tonight I'm Falling, which could even be one of my favorite songs from Intuition. And he sings this part. He says, tonight my love is all for you. And he just goes up. And then he goes up again. And you just think, how is that even possible? And he just reaches the heights. It's just ridiculous. And what I love about Tony Harnell is lots of these singers can sing high, but his tone is gorgeous as well when he goes down to the lower range as well. So Tony Harnell, without a doubt, on Tonight I'm Falling by TNT. Just a brilliant, very melodic, almost pop metal, I suppose you would call it now. I don't know, but what an amazing performer, amazing voice he had. So still has. Tonight I'm Falling by TNT. There you go.